Why does Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman still reign as the definitive portrayal over 30 years later? Today we're exploring how Batman Returns transformed a comic book femme fatale into cinema's most complex anti-heroine. Michelle Pfeiffer wasn't the first choice to play Catwoman. After Annette Bening dropped out due to pregnancy, Pfeiffer stepped into what would become her most iconic role. Tim Burton's sequel gave him the creative freedom he craved, and he used it to craft something darker and more psychologically complex than typical superhero fare. The result was a Catwoman who wasn't just a jewel thief seeking thrills, she was a woman transformed by trauma into something entirely new. Pfeiffer's commitment to the role was legendary. The latex catsuit required her to be powdered down, vacuum-packed into the costume, and painted with silicone for that trademark shine. She later called it the most uncomfortable thing she's ever worn, with claws that caught on everything and a face mask that was constantly choking her. Beyond the suit, Pfeiffer trained intensively for a month with whip expert Anthony DeLongis, practicing 4 hours a day to master the bullwhip, even performing stunts like decapitating mannequins in a single take. She also worked with kickboxing and martial arts coach Kathy Long to learn precise movements and fight choreography, ensuring every strike and flip was believable. All of this physical preparation, suit, whip, and combat training was essential to creating Catwoman's agile, menacing, and unforgettable presence. The genius of this Catwoman lies in her origin story. Selina Kyle begins as Max Schreck's meek and awkward secretary, a woman already struggling with loneliness and depression who talks to her cat because she has no one else. When her boss literally throws her out a window for discovering his corrupt plans, something inside her snaps completely. The transformation scene remains one of cinema's most memorable character rebirths. Pfeiffer destroys her pink apartment, spray painting the walls black, and putting her stuffed animals through the garbage disposal while a neon sign ominously shifts from "Hello there" to "Hell here." She stitches together her costume from a black coat during what can only be described as a complete psychological breakdown. This isn't a woman who chose crime for excitement. This is someone rebuilding herself from literal and figurative pieces. Pfeiffer's performance captures this duality brilliantly. Her voice transforms from timid and soft-spoken to sultry and razor-sharp. Her body language becomes entirely feline, predatory yet graceful. Most importantly, she maintains the sense that Selina Kyle is still fighting to exist underneath Catwoman's confident exterior, creating an internal conflict that drives the entire character arc. What elevates this Catwoman beyond a typical villain is her romance with Bruce Wayne. Burton's Batman is notably different from other interpretations, quiet, modest, and genuinely vulnerable, rather than an emotionless playboy. This makes him the perfect match for Pfeiffer's complex Selina, who finds someone who understands having a dark side. Their relationship works on two levels simultaneously. As Bruce and Selina, they're two damaged people finding comfort in each other's company. As Batman and Catwoman, they're engaged in an elaborate dance of attraction and opposition. The masquerade ball scene, where they're the only guests not wearing masks while secretly knowing each other's identities, is pure cinematic poetry. The tragedy of their romance comes from Selina's inability to reconcile her two selves. Unlike Bruce, who has found some balance between his identities, Selina wants to completely eradicate her former self. When Bruce offers her a fairy tale ending, she's literally torn between her Selina half wanting love and her Catwoman half demanding revenge. That Catwoman wins makes her both powerful and heartbreaking. Through a contemporary lens, Pfeiffer's Catwoman reads as remarkably feminist. She uses her sexuality strategically, lulling enemies into underestimating her before striking. This isn't the male gaze objectification we see in later superhero films. Her sexuality serves her character development and agency rather than existing purely for audience titillation. Her costume design reinforces this complexity. The white stitches covering her black latex suit symbolize someone barely holding herself together, while the outfit's progressive deterioration throughout the film mirrors her psychological unraveling. It's homemade rather than high-tech, emphasizing that this transformation came from within rather than from external resources. Most significantly, her hatred of Batman stems from her own self-loathing. He represents the helpless victim she used to be, and destroying him would validate that she's truly become something stronger. This projection of inner conflict onto external relationships shows a psychological sophistication rarely seen in superhero cinema. 30 years later, Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman remains the definitive interpretation. Anne Hathaway's grounded take in The Dark Knight Rises was competent but lacked the psychological complexity. Halle Berry's 2004 Catwoman was so disconnected from this legacy that it earned a Razzie. Pfeiffer's influence extended beyond film into animation and comics. Batman the Animated Series deliberately combined elements of Pfeiffer's design with Julie Newmar's classic look, creating a template that comics still follow today. The character's costume, psychology, and moral ambiguity all trace back to what Pfeiffer established in 1992. What makes this performance endure isn't just the memorable quotes, though "sickos don't scare me, at least they're committed" remains iconic. It's the emotional truth underneath the latex. Pfeiffer created a character who was simultaneously empowered and vulnerable, dangerous and sympathetic, sexy and genuinely frightening. Every actress who's donned the catsuit since has been chasing the benchmark she established, and most likely always will be. This is Ladies First, watching women in movies. Here, we empower women by reviewing and discussing films that highlight their stories, struggles, and achievements. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.